Ladies and gentlemen, life is an intricate web of connections, and every individual we encounter influences the tapestry of our existence in profound ways. You may not fully grasp the weight of your presence, but make no mistake, you are irreplaceable. Your contributions, whether intentional or inadvertent, create ripples that extend far beyond what you can see. When someone loses a person like you, the void is not merely an absence, it is a chasm. It is the absence of encouragement, a missing source of wisdom, and the loss of someone who held a mirror up to their own potential. The weight of that void presses upon those who remain, often revealing truths they wish they had recognized earlier. Those left behind are faced with the haunting reality of their actions, or lack thereof. They begin to understand the things they took for granted. The small sacrifices, the quiet support, the moments of kindness that once seemed ordinary but in hindsight were extraordinary. Regret becomes their companion, whispering in their ear about opportunities missed and love unspoken. The pain of losing someone is not just a consequence of what was shared, but also of what could have been. Relationships are fragile, yet powerful, and the responsibility to nurture them lies with all parties involved. But when one side falters, they often don't realize the damage until it's too late. Let this be a reminder. Your life matters in ways you may never fully comprehend. The integrity you uphold, the effort you pour into your pursuits, and the love you extend to others are not merely personal achievements. They are lifelines for those around you. And so, thrive not for the approval of others, but because your flourishing inspires others to do the same. By becoming your best self, you create a legacy of strength and resolve that others will carry long after you're gone. Let them look back and understand that while your absence is deeply felt, your presence was transformative. It's not about seeking to be indispensable, it's about being authentic, kind, and courageous in the face of life's complexities. Because in the end, those who lose you will struggle to find peace, not because of their pain alone, but because of the magnitude of who you were. Every individual has a profound and unique effect on the world around them, whether they recognize it or not. The value of a person's presence lies in the subtle and often imperceptible ways they shape the environment, relationships, and experiences of those they encounter. This influence is not merely about tangible achievements or accolades, it is about the essence of being, the words spoken, the actions taken, and even the quiet moments of understanding shared with others. Human beings are deeply interconnected, and every interaction we have leaves a mark, even if it appears insignificant at the time. Consider how a kind word at the right moment can alter someone's day, or how consistent reliability builds trust over months or years. These contributions, while small in isolation, compound over time, creating a web of connections that shape the dynamics of families, friendships, workplaces, and communities. The power of presence lies in these accumulations, the countless instances where your existence has brought comfort, clarity, or inspiration to others. At the core of this impact is a principle that is both simple and profound. No one else can replicate who you are. Your perspective, shaped by your experiences, values, and choices, is uniquely yours. Even the way you approach challenges or express emotions is distinct. This individuality is the cornerstone of your influence. When people lose someone significant in their lives, they are not merely grieving the absence of a person, they are mourning the loss of an irreplaceable perspective, a voice that added something vital to their understanding of the world. Think of the relationships you hold dear. Each one thrives because of your particular contributions. Perhaps you are the one who provides stability during turbulent times, or you are the creative force who brings fresh ideas to stagnant situations. Maybe your role is to listen without judgment, offering a space where others can express themselves freely. These roles, though they may feel natural to you, are deeply valued by those who rely on them. Your presence fills gaps in the lives of others, not as a substitute for their own abilities, but as a complement that enhances their experience of life. The impact of presence also extends to how you shape the identities of others. People grow through relationships, and the dynamics you create with them influence their sense of self. A teacher, for instance, might inspire confidence in a hesitant student, not through grand gestures, but through consistent encouragement and belief in their potential. A friend might offer a listening ear, helping someone process their thoughts and emotions, thereby fostering self-awareness and resilience. But also, these interactions underscore the transformative power of simply being there for others, providing a mirror through which they can see their own worth. In a world that often emphasizes measurable success, the quiet influence of presence is easy to overlook, yet it is arguably the most enduring form of impact. Tangible achievements may fade and material possessions may be forgotten, but the ways in which you make others feel will remain etched in their memories. These feelings often resurface in unexpected moments: a smile triggered by a shared joke, a sense of comfort when recalling your advice, or a renewed determination inspired by your example. The absence of such presence is felt most acutely when it is gone. When someone who has played a vital role in your life is no longer there, it is not just their physical absence that is mourned, it is the loss of the unique energy they brought into your life. The conversations that will never happen again, the laughter that no one else can replicate, and the sense of connection that was uniquely tied to them. All of these leave an irreplaceable void. This reality underscores the importance of recognizing the value of presence while it is still here. Too often, people take for granted the relationships and interactions that form the fabric of their lives. They may not realize the extent of someone's influence until it is no longer available. By becoming more aware of the role you play in the lives of others, you can approach these connections with greater intention and appreciation. Then, similarly, by acknowledging the impact others have on you, you foster deeper gratitude and understanding in your relationships. Ultimately, the power of presence is not something that can be manufactured or forced. It arises naturally from being authentic and engaged in the world around you. It is about showing up fully with your strengths and vulnerabilities and allowing your unique self to shine through. This authenticity creates connections that are not only meaningful but enduring. You may not always see the full extent of your influence, but trust that it exists. Every act of kindness, every moment of patience, and every instance of empathy contributes to a legacy that cannot be replicated. Your presence, in all its complexity and imperfection, is a gift to those around you. And while you may never fully comprehend the depth of your impact, rest assured that it is felt, often in ways that words cannot adequately express. Loss is a universal experience, yet its complexity is profound and deeply personal. The absence of someone who has played a significant role in our lives creates a void that is not easily understood or filled. This is because human relationships are not merely transactional or functional. They are deeply intertwined with our sense of identity, meaning, and emotional well-being. When someone integral to our lives is gone, we lose more than just their physical presence. We lose a part of ourselves that was shaped by them, and the ripple effects of that loss can be overwhelming. At its core, the complexity of loss stems from the intricate ways in which our lives are connected to others. Human bonds are built over time through shared experiences, mutual understanding, and emotional investments. These connections are not superficial. They shape our thoughts, behaviors, and feelings in ways that are often subconscious. The people we hold close become mirrors that reflect parts of our identity, sources of support that anchor us in times of uncertainty, and companions who share in the joys and challenges of life. When one of these connections is severed, the disruption goes far beyond the immediate absence. It shakes the very foundation of how we navigate the world. The emotional weight of loss is further intensified by the unique nature of each relationship. No two bonds are the same, and each one fulfills a specific role in our lives. A parent might provide unconditional love and guidance, a friend might offer laughter and camaraderie, and a mentor might inspire growth and ambition. When such a person is no longer there, it is not just their role that is lost, but also the specific way they made us feel and the unique dynamic they brought into our lives. This uniqueness is irreplaceable, which is why loss often feels so final, and devastating. One of the most challenging aspects of loss is the sense of unfinished business it often brings. Relationships are rarely perfect, and there are usually things left unsaid or undone. This can lead to feelings of regret, guilt, or longing. People may find themselves revisiting moments where they could have acted differently, or spent more gratitude, spent more time together, or resolved conflicts sooner. And socially, these reflections can be both painful and instructive, highlighting the fragility of human connections and the importance of cherishing them while they last. The psychological impact of loss is not limited to the immediate aftermath. It can unfold over time in complex and unexpected ways. Grief is not a linear process, but a journey marked by highs and lows, moments of clarity, and periods of intense emotional turbulence. It can manifest as sadness, anger, confusion, or even numbness, and these feelings often ebb and flow without warning. This unpredictability adds another layer of complexity, making it difficult for people to fully process or articulate their emotions. Loss also has a way of challenging our understanding of the world and our place within it. It forces us to confront the impermanence of life and the reality that everything we hold dear is, in some way, transient. This realization can be deeply unsettling, but it also has the potential to foster growth and resilience. By grappling with loss, we are often compelled to reassess our priorities, redefine our relationships, and find new sources of meaning. This is not to diminish the pain of loss, but to acknowledge its capacity to transform us in profound ways. The social dimension of loss further complicates the experience. While grief is deeply personal, it is often shared within families, communities, or social circles. The absence of one individual can ripple through these networks, creating a collective sense of mourning. This shared grief can be both a source of comfort and a challenge, as people navigate their individual emotions while also supporting one another. The way a group processes loss can vary greatly, influenced by cultural norms, personal beliefs, and the nature of the relationship with the deceased. Another layer of complexity arises when the loss is sudden or unexpected. The shock of such an event can amplify the emotional impact, leaving people feeling unprepared and disoriented. In these cases, the mind may struggle to reconcile the abrupt absence of someone who is an integral part of daily life. This sense of disbelief can linger, making it harder to accept and adapt to the new reality despite its challenges. The experience of loss also highlights the depth of human connections and the value of relationships. The pain of losing someone is a testament to the significance of their presence in our lives. It is a reflection of the love, trust, and shared experiences that made the relationship meaningful.
At the same time, understanding our self-worth empowers us to set boundaries that protect our energy and well-being. When we value ourselves, we are less likely to allow others to take advantage of us or undermine our sense of self. We can say no when necessary, not out of defensiveness but out of a healthy recognition that our time, energy, and emotions are precious. These boundaries are an essential aspect of maintaining our integrity and dignity, and they allow us to preserve the space we need to nurture our own growth and contribute meaningfully to the lives of others. The intersection of self-worth and responsibility also calls us to take ownership of our actions and their impact. Every choice we make has consequences, whether direct or indirect. When we live with an awareness of our worth and the responsibility we carry, we make decisions that are aligned with our values. We strive to act with integrity, to follow through on our commitments, and to be mindful of how our words and actions affect others. This awareness of the responsibility we carry reinforces our sense of purpose and meaning, both in our personal lives and in the larger context of the world we inhabit. When we fail to acknowledge our worth or abdicate responsibility, we often find ourselves disconnected from our true potential. This disconnection can manifest as feelings of unfulfillment, frustration, or resentment. We may begin to question our value or allow ourselves to be defined by external circumstances, rather than by our own sense of who we are and what we can contribute. This is why it is crucial to cultivate both self-worth and responsibility in tandem. When we recognize our own value and take responsibility for our lives and actions, we step into a more authentic, empowered version of ourselves. The interplay of self-worth and responsibility is not a call to perfection but an invitation to show up fully and authentically in every aspect of our lives. It is an ongoing journey of growth, reflection, and commitment both to ourselves and to others. When we embrace this dual understanding, we are able to live with intention, create meaningful connections, and ultimately leave a lasting impact on the world. By honoring both our worth and our responsibility, we become better equipped to contribute to the lives of those around us and to lead lives of fulfillment, meaning, and integrity. Regret is one of the most complex and powerful emotions we can experience. It is a universal feeling, one that touches everyone at some point in their lives. Regret often surfaces when we reflect on choices we made, paths we didn't take, or actions we failed to take. It can come from both small decisions that seem insignificant at the time and monumental moments that carry lifelong consequences. Regret's presence is never a simple experience. It involves layers of emotion, from sadness and frustration to guilt and longing. It is a reflection of missed opportunities, and yet, it is also a call to engage more deeply with the present and future. The pain of regret often stems from the realization that we cannot go back and change our actions. Once a decision is made, once time has passed, there is no way to reverse the choices we've made. Whether it's a word spoken in haste, an opportunity missed, or a relationship neglected, the finality of those moments is what makes regret feel so heavy. The emotion holds us in the past, forcing us to relive the moments where we wish we had acted differently, chosen a different path, or been more present. Regret also serves as a powerful mirror that reflects our values, desires, and deeper emotional truths. It is not merely a feeling of loss but a reminder of what truly matters to us. When we experience regret, we are often faced with the realization of what we value and what we failed to honor. This reflection provides us with valuable insights into our priorities, desires, and the areas of our lives that need attention. In this way, regret is not inherently negative. It is a source of self-awareness and growth. By confronting regret, we gain clarity about who we are, what we want, and how we can move forward with greater wisdom. The regret that arises from missed opportunities or actions we wish we had taken often invites a deeper examination of our own choices and behavior. It encourages us to ask difficult questions. Why didn't I act when I had the chance? Why did I hold back? What was I afraid of? These questions can lead to valuable insights, as they push us to confront the internal obstacles that prevent us from fully engaging with life. Fear, insecurity, or doubt may have held us back, preventing us from making decisions that align with our values and goals. Recognizing these barriers allows us to take responsibility for them and, in turn, empowers us to make more conscious choices in the future. Regret can also surface in relationships, particularly when we feel that we have failed to nurture or protect them. Perhaps we let a friendship wither through neglect, allowed a romantic relationship to falter through complacency, or took someone for granted, only to realize too late the impact of that loss. The pain of this kind of regret is often deeper because it involves others or people we care about, who are a part of our lives. When we reflect on the ways we may have failed them, it can feel as though we are also failing ourselves, and this internal conflict can be particularly difficult to navigate. We may question whether it's possible to repair the damage, or if the opportunity for reconciliation has passed. While regret can feel overwhelming, it also carries the potential for healing and redemption. The first step in transforming regret is to acknowledge it, to allow ourselves the space to feel the emotions it brings without judgment. Regret, like any emotion, is part of being human, And it is through acknowledging and sitting with these feelings that we gain the ability to move beyond them. If we deny or suppress regret, it festers and can become more destructive. But when we confront it head-on, we are in a better position to learn from it, to understand the reasons behind our actions, and to make changes moving forward. Reflection is a crucial element of this process. Regret without reflection becomes paralyzing, keeping us trapped in the past. But when we take the time to reflect on our regrets thoughtfully, we can use them as a guide for future behavior. Reflection allows us to ask ourselves what we can learn from past mistakes and how we can adjust our approach in the future. It helps us build resilience by showing us that, while we cannot undo the past, we can always make different choices moving forward. In relationships, reflection on regret can also lead to growth and understanding. It encourages us to look at how we show up for others, how we communicate, and how we express our love and appreciation. Through reflection, we may realize that we took people for granted, or we may discover ways in which we can be more present and supportive in the future. This kind of reflection, when combined with action, can lead to stronger, more authentic connections. Regret can be a powerful tool for self-improvement. When we allow ourselves to reflect on our past mistakes and missed opportunities, we are engaging in a process of growth. It is through this process that we learn to make more intentional decisions, to prioritize what truly matters, and to embrace our imperfections. Regret, in its most constructive form, is not something to avoid or suppress but rather to embrace as part of the journey toward becoming the best version of ourselves. As difficult as regret may feel in the moment, it is not an emotion meant to trap us in the past. Instead, it is an invitation to reflect, learn, and move forward with greater awareness and purpose. By using regret as a catalyst for growth, we find the strength to make better choices in the future, to repair relationships, and to live in alignment with our true values. In this way, regret becomes less of a burden and more of a stepping stone on the path to personal transformation. Acceptance is a deeply transformative process that requires immense patience, self-awareness, and courage. It is the ability to embrace life as it is, not as we wish it to be, and to come to terms with the realities that we may have once resisted or denied. Acceptance does not mean resignation or passivity. It is an active, conscious choice to let go of control over aspects of life that are beyond our influence and to move forward with clarity, peace, and resilience. It involves recognizing that life, in all its beauty and hardship, is filled with uncertainty and imperfection, and that our strength lies in our ability to accept and adapt to these conditions. The journey toward acceptance often begins with resistance. When faced with circumstances that are difficult, painful, or simply outside of our control, our first reaction is often one of denial or struggle. We want things to be different, and we invest significant energy in trying to change situations, people, or outcomes that are not within our power to alter. This resistance can manifest in various ways: of anger, frustration, anxiety, or a deep sense of helplessness. We may fight against the reality of our circumstances, wishing they would shift to fit our desires or expectations. But this resistance, while a natural instinct, ultimately leads to suffering, as we spend our energy battling something that cannot be changed. Then, requires a shift in mindset, to a decision to stop resisting and to allow ourselves to acknowledge reality for what it is. It is not about giving up or surrendering to fate. Rather, it is about recognizing the boundaries of what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. This shift is often difficult, as it asks us to confront our vulnerability and our limitations. It asks us to relinquish the illusion of control and to trust that, even in the face of uncertainty, we have the strength to navigate whatever comes our way. A crucial element of acceptance is learning to embrace the inherent impermanence of life. Everything, our experiences, relationships, emotions, and even ourselves, is constantly changing. Life is a series of ebbing and flowing moments, where we experience both joy and sorrow, success and failure, growth and loss. When we resist this natural flow, we create friction within ourselves, leading to emotional turmoil. But when we learn to accept change, we free ourselves from the need to hold on to things that are fleeting. We stop clinging to the past or fearing the future, and we begin to live more fully in the present moment. This process of accepting the impermanence of life extends to our relationships and the people we encounter. People come and go, and no connection is permanent in the way we might desire it to be. Acceptance requires us to acknowledge the truth of these dynamics and to find peace in the ebb and flow of relationships. We may experience heartbreak, loss, or disappointment, but by accepting these experiences as part of the natural course of life, we learn to appreciate the time we had with others without being bound by the need for permanence. Acceptance also involves a deep understanding and acceptance of ourselves, our strengths, our flaws, our past, and our potential. We are all imperfect beings, shaped by our experiences, our choices, and the challenges we have faced. The journey towards self-acceptance is often one of the most difficult, as it asks us to look at ourselves honestly and to come to terms with the aspects of our character or history that we might prefer to avoid. However, it is only by accepting ourselves fully, including our imperfections and mistakes, that we can find true peace and freedom. Self-acceptance allows us to let go of the need for perfection or constant self-criticism. It frees us from the fear of judgment, both from others and from ourselves. The journey toward acceptance is not a linear one. It is filled with moments of progress and setbacks, growth and regression. We may find ourselves accepting a difficult situation one day, only to struggle with it again the next. This is part of the process. So acceptance is not a one-time event but an ongoing practice. It requires consistent effort and reflection, and it often involves revisiting the same lessons multiple times. What matters is the willingness to continue the journey, even when the path is difficult or unclear. In many ways, acceptance is an act of surrender not to fate, but to the present moment. It is a surrender to what is, rather than what could be, and to the realization that life cannot always be controlled, planned, or predicted. This surrender is not defeat, it is a conscious choice to relinquish the need for certainty and to trust in our ability to navigate the unknown. When we accept that we cannot control every aspect of life, we free ourselves from the burden of anxiety and frustration that comes from trying to manipulate outcomes. We begin to live with more ease and openness, welcoming whatever comes our way with resilience and grace. The journey toward acceptance also teaches us the value of patience. We often want to rush through difficult emotions or challenging circumstances, eager to reach a point of resolution or closure. However, true acceptance takes time. It requires patience with ourselves and with life as we learn to let go of the need for immediate answers or solutions. This patience allows us to develop a deeper sense of trust in the process of life, knowing that even in moments of uncertainty or discomfort, we are growing and evolving. Acceptance is a journey of liberation. By letting go of the need to control, resist, or perfect, we open ourselves to the fullness of life. We allow ourselves to experience the richness of each moment, to embrace both the highs and the lows, and to find peace in the ever-changing nature of existence. Acceptance frees us from the constraints of expectation and fear, enabling us to live more fully, authentically, and with a deep sense of gratitude for the present moment.